Okay, chefs.
Before we get into the video, I just want to quickly plug my latest short film, The Brothers' Failure, a mockumentary. Based on a true story, Hamza Boujelloua, a young, naive filmmaker, has an ambitious dream to bring his fantasy short film to life. Witness him and his friends embark on the journey of attempting to create the Brothers' Blade and realize his artistic vision. A lot of time, a lot of love, and a lot of passion went into it, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys gave it a watch. Click the link in the description to watch it, or go to the front page of my YouTube channel and it's right there on the homepage. I hope you guys enjoy it. Now, onto the video.
Chefs, table, 38, 2 people.
FX's The Bear is one of the best shows on TV right now. In fact, I think the first 2 seasons are some of my favorite seasons of television ever. It's just that good. Who'd have thought a show about a small kitchen in Chicago could be so stressful, so memorable, so tense, and filled with likable, flawed, and well-rounded characters? The writing, the directing, the editing, the cinematography, the acting, it's all just simply spectacular. Again, who'd have thought that a show about a small kitchen in Chicago with this wonderful cast of characters would have been so comforting, so engaging, and just so dramatically rich? Like, who'd have thought that? Not me. Season 1 tells the story of Carmen Brasato, or Carmy as he's most commonly known as, and his journey in trying to run his recently deceased brother's sandwich shop. Right off the bat, the show does a fantastic job at showcasing the storytelling of the show. It's not in your face, it's very subtle and you have to be paying attention. But it's also the creators of the show use every facet of filmmaking to engage the audience. It hooks you with its editing style, with its cinematography, with the acting. Not to mention the fact the show does a fantastic job at making working in a kitchen feel so tense, so dramatic, and so stressful. From the rapid editing to the claustrophobic cinematography to the intensity of the performances from the actors, I love this cast of characters, and I'm not just talking about the actors, I'm talking about the characters in the story. I love how every episode tells you something new about one of the characters, and how by the end of the season you can't help but loving all of them. You know, they all feel like friends, and in many ways they feel like family. It's just so comforting to see them work in this really busy kitchen. Of course, the standout episode to season 1 is episode 7, the episode that is done pretty much in one take. The display of directing and cinematography and blocking and acting is nothing short of remarkable. It's just so compelling to watch. The episode covers the kitchen's new pre-order system as it launches, but because Sydney didn't close the order window, the kitchen gets rammed with order after order after order after order after order after order. One of the things that I find remarkable about the episode is how you're so invested in the story, you're so invested in the stakes that you don't even really pay attention to the fact that it's shot in one take, or at least I didn't the first time I saw the episode. I didn't even notice it. I had to have a friend tell me, hey, yeah, it's all done in one take. And I was like, wait, what? That episode is the definition of conflict. Every character in the episode has some sort of conflict. Or they're always clashing heads, or they're yelling at each other. It's so good.
Step out.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to Marcus.
Get the fuck off my expo chef now!
We don't have any more.
Fucking find them! God fucking damn it, Tina!
Every writer and every storyteller always preaches the idea of conflict and how conflict is key into a story. This episode is a masterclass in conflict. Every character is in conflict in this episode. Sydney and Richie, with Richie antagonizing Sydney over her risotto and it ending up being featured in a critic review. Okay, question. Is it pronounced risotto or is it pronounced risotto? Risotto. Is that an American thing? I can't tell. To Sydney belittling Richie, calling him a loser and a waste of space, and she even stabs him. And the brilliant thing about that moment is that I can't tell whether or not Sydney intentionally or accidentally stabbed Richie. And then you have Carmy absolutely losing his shit in that episode. He's yelling at everyone. He's yelling about how his Sharpie doesn't fucking work, and he's just yelling at Sydney, and he's yelling at Marcus, and then he destroys Marcus's donut. Now, granted, Marcus was being super high fixated on the donut when obviously they were being rammed with order after order, and obviously Marcus should have snapped out of his hyperfixation and sprung into action and started doing his actual job, but Carmy's behavior was horrendous. Not only did he ruin Marcus's donut, but he just yells at him abusively, and then that causes Marcus to quit, and then Sydney quits because Carmy's being super abusive, and granted, the whole thing was Sydney's fault, but at the end of the day, Carmy's actions aren't excusable. His behavior isn't excusable. Carmy sees a long arc of him trying to come to terms with the death of his brother Michael. It's such a fascinating watch because we see Michael's actions. We don't see Michael a lot. We only see John Bernthal appear in like 1 or 2 episodes. But we always hear his impact. We always hear the way people talk about him. People loved Michael, and Carmy as a character is so broken, is so rich, and every episode does a fantastic job of building Carmy's character and revealing to the audience these tiny bits of information that make us go, oh, this is who this guy is. From his inability to take his mind off work, to his perfectionist mentality due to his time training in New York and being bullied by the head chef, and the strained relationship he has with his family and his brother, it all builds and builds until we get to the season finale and we get that 7-minute monologue. And man, What a scene! That monologue might be one of the best written monologues I've ever heard. The way Jeremy Allen White delivers it, it feels so personal, and there's so many brilliant acting moments from him in those 7 minutes. The parts in the monologue where he talks about wanting to get Michael's validation, or the fact that he got lost in the cooking because he loved it, because he found it so rewarding and exhausting and mind-numbing because he wanted to distract himself, but also he finally found something he was good at and he wanted to become the best at it because he wanted to be a perfectionist. But because he ended up getting so hyperfixated at wanting to be the best chef, he ended up cutting out people from his life, he lost track of time, and his brother died. It's the way Jeremy Allen White delivers those lines, the heartbreak in his eyes, the pain in his eyes, the guilt. Mwah!
Like I was good at something that was so new and that was so exciting, and I just wanted him to know that, and I just wanted him to be like, good job. And the more he wouldn't respond, and the more our relationship kind of strained, the deeper into this I went and the better I got. And the more people I cut out, the quieter my life got. And the routine of the kitchen was so consistent and exacting and busy and hard and alive, and I lost track of time, and he died.
The writing of this monologue just breaks my heart. Everything that is written feels so truthful, feels so soulful, feels so relatable.
I didn't have any girlfriends. I don't think I'm funny.
He's me. He's literally me. And again, similar to the one take in episode 7, you can't help but not realize that the scene is 7 minutes long because you're so engaged in the text, you're so engaged in Jeremy Allen White's performance that you don't realize that it's all in one take pretty much and that it's 7 minutes long. God, you just can't help but love these characters and love the writing. Just, this show, man. And speaking of things that you can't help but love, Richie the GOAT.
Corner! Yo, family! Yo, you! Fucking with my program cousin!
He's so loud, he's so boisterous, he's so charismatic. You can't help but love him even though he's an asshole. Every time he shows up, you can't help but just go, yep, that's the GOAT. That's my boy. Granted, he doesn't actually become the GOAT until season 2, but he's still extremely likable in the first season. But knowing where he ends up in season 2 makes a rewatch of season 1 so rewarding. I remember going into episode 1 of season 1 when rewatching the show for this review, and the moment he appeared, the very first frame, I couldn't help but have a massive grin on my face and go, yep, that's the fucking GOAT. Your cousin. Sydney is a character you like because she brings orders to the restaurant. Granted, she can do some pretty unlikable things at times, but she is the wide-eyed youth that wants to prove what she can do. In many ways, I can see her attitude being similar to Kami's Once Upon a Time. Tina is also a character that has a really great arc. You see her learn to respect the kitchen, to listen to Sydney, and in doing so, she becomes a better chef. It's so rewarding to watch, especially in season 2 when Sydney offers her the position of sous chef, and Tina's excitement and happiness because you can see in her eyes that she has achieved something. She feels a sense of purpose. Season 2, the main theme of that season is purpose, cousin. I mean, you can't help but not love these characters. I mean, Marcus and Ibra and Fack and Cicero and the tiny glimpses we see of John Bernthal as Michael, Sugar, Cicero, Pete. God, I love this show. Manja, baby. One of the things I actually quite like about the structure of the season is how we see lots of the characters go off and do their own little side missions. We see Marcus go to Copenhagen to receive special dessert training. We see Tina go back to culinary school. We see Kami try and fail to balance getting distracted by his long-term crush Claire and also trying to build the bear, which technically that is the main story, but because season 1 did the groundwork in making you love these characters, you don't mind going off and seeing Marcus do something in Copenhagen for a whole episode, or seeing what Tina's doing at culinary school, because you love these characters, you like watching them. You like seeing Marcus form Abominable Poulter's character, you like seeing Tina go off to culinary school, making friends, and then going to a karaoke bar and hanging out with them, and you also discover that Tina's a fantastic singer. Character work, one of the key fundamentals of storytelling, and this show does it by the bucket loads. And you can't, it's small little details too. Again, the character work done in this show is fantastic. It's just small little details. The fact that we discover that Tina can sing, that's great. You learn so much about her character because you realize that she's a fantastic singer, but she's also very shy because she doesn't boast about it. It's such a quick and effective scene and it tells you so much about her. This is storytelling. This is cinema. Then there's the midpoint in the season where the show stops and shows us the backstory to the Brazzato family. The Thanksgiving episode is so dense and so stressful, not to mention the fact that it also shows us the backstory with the Brazzato family and a lot of the character dynamics, and it's just so interesting and enthralling to watch. We see Carmi's strained relationship with his mother, his relationship with Michael. We see Richie with his pregnant wife and their relationship. We see Mike's dislike of their stepfather played by Bob Odenkirk. And who'd have thought that one of the most tense moments in television history is simply just waiting for John Bernthal to throw a fork. And then Donna drives her car through the living room window. Like, what is up with this family? You can't help but feel so enthralled and invested in this family and this cast of characters that you do want to learn more. And then, of course, we get to season 2, episode 7, aka the best episode of the entire show, Forks. My man, Richie the GOAT, Purpose Cousin. The episode where Richie starts at the best restaurant in the world and we see him discover his purpose, or at least the motivation to discover himself and try to find his purpose. It's nothing short of a masterpiece. Richie's character journey of not having any respect for himself because he feels like he has no drive, to finding out that his ex-wife is getting engaged, which in turn leads him to putting in more effort into his stage work, which results in him building a stronger bond with his co-workers, is so fulfilling and so rewarding to watch. The way the episode is paced, the way it's edited, the way the sound design kicks in, the way the score kicks in, it's fantastic. It all builds and builds until we get to the Taylor Swift love story moment. And I'm not gonna lie, I would never have assumed that Taylor Swift's love story would be one of my favorite musical inserts in a show, but it's fantastic. In that scene, we see Richie finally happy and he feels like a new man and that he's on his way to discovering his purpose. It's all just so fantastic. And again, never in a million years would I have thought a Taylor Swift song would have got me hyped up and pumped up. But Love Story has, the way the show uses it, it's fantastic. In many ways now, I listen to that song and it's got a new meaning now. I listen to that song and I think, Purpose, cousin. Purpose. One of the things I also find really interesting is the scene after the Taylor Swift song where Richie calls Carmi and basically yells at him for sending him to the greatest restaurant because he thought Carmi was trying to humiliate him. But as we find out through the scene with Olivia Colman's chef Terry, Carmi sent him there because he believes he would become a great host because he's also really good with people and he believed in him. And we, the audience, visually see that when he delivers the Chicago-style pizza to the table, the way he interacts with the customers. Manja, baby. Fantastic. The writing in this show is so good. The finale to season 2 is also fantastic. Once again, it utilizes tension so perfectly by having Carmi locked in the freezer during the restaurant's opening night. We see everyone in the kitchen losing their mind, and we see Carmi basically having a mental breakdown in the freezer, losing his mind, and it all builds and builds until Richie steps up, takes control of the situation, and helps Sydney regain control of the kitchen. But then there's also the added tension of whether or not Donna is going to show up, and then Donna does show up, but because she's so afraid of seeing Carmi and of seeing Sugar, she can't help but end up feeling like she's not welcome in there. But then Pete's trying to convince her to go inside, but then Donna's like, no, I can't. It's such good character writing, man. It's so heartbreaking. You're so invested in this story. Especially seeing as how Pete has to lie to Sugar about how Donna didn't show up. So good. And then there's everything to do with Carmi and Claire and the ending of their relationship and Carmi's freak out in the freezer. It's so heartbreaking because Carmi's just freaking out thinking he's talking to Tina, but Tina's gone and Claire's there and she listens to everything and... oh, man.
Right? What the fuck was I thinking? Like I was gonna be in a relationship? I'm a fucking psycho. That's why I'm good at what I do.
And then when Claire leaves, Richie steps in and then yells at Carmi and the two just start yelling at each other. And it's both really funny.
I'm not fucking kidding you right now. Someone's gotta tell you this shit.
Fuck you! Fuck you!
Yeah, fuck me. Here we go.
Fuck
I
the
fucking
fuck
love
out.
you.
You fucking
I
need
fucking
me.
love you.
You fucking
yeah,
need
you
me.
need me.
Fuck you.
Fucking need me, you motherfucker.
Fuck you.
Shit. Fuck you. It's a fucking
Fuck
shit. Fuck you. Hope you fucking freeze to death.
But it's also really heartbreaking too. I mean, the line that really just wrenches my heart is when Richie tells Carmi, you're so selfish you didn't show up to your own brother's funeral. Like, what a gut punch, man.
Fuck you don't know fucking shit.
Fuck
Where were
you.
you
You're
when
not
we
my
fucking put
fucking
your
family,
fucking
alright?
brother in the ground, you selfish piece of shit?
But then there's also the moment too where Carmi listens to Claire's voicemail from earlier in the day and she tells him that she loves him and just... Oh, the writer. What a show. The tension, the writing, everything in the show is unmatched from anything right now. It's so good. The soundtrack to the show too is also fantastic. I mean, some of the highlights for me is like some of Sufjan Stevens' music too. Chicago in season 1. What a great song choice. All things go. The Bear is one of the best shows on TV right now, and I am so eager to watch season 3. I'm really looking forward to it. Again, who'd have thought a show about a small kitchen in Chicago would have you so invested, would have you so stressed out, and feel so tense, but also you love every one of these characters. Who'd have thought that this tiny show would be so good? I am so excited for season 3. I can't wait to see where the story goes. I can't wait to see where the characters go. I hope Kami and Richie patch up their relationship, and I hope when they do, it's going to be a fantastic moment, because they're not brothers, but they feel like brothers, and they're not actually cousins, but just, again, the writing, the character work, I just can't wait to see where this all goes. Does Kami fix his relationship with Claire? Does Richie go even further in discovering his purpose? What about Marcus and Sydney, their relationship? Do they even have a relationship? Is Sid and Kami going to get together? Are they not going to get together? It's... the depth and richness of the storytelling is so fascinating. Again, I didn't think I would be invested about this small kitchen, but I am. I love the characters in the show. I love all of them. I want to see them succeed. I hope season 3 really just pushes the story even further and either rips out your heart or like makes it really satisfying. Whatever happens, I will be there, I will be watching because I'm invested and I can't wait for season 3. But those are just my thoughts on The Bear. I think it's fantastic. I think it's must-watch television. It's so good. If you haven't seen this show, you need to, but also, why did you watch a spoiler review for the entire show? That is... huh? But if you've seen The Bear, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, follow me on social media, all the good stuff. Until we meet again, see you guys next time.